Hello, Ayya Tathaloka. So good to see you.
Greetings. Nice to see you as well. And others there too. Greetings to all of you. I'm Tathaloka Bhikkhuni and speaking with you today from our Aranya Bodhi Awakening Forest Hermitage on the Sonoma coast. This is a hermitage for bhikkhunis and our friends and associates. Oh, this is not a pasting Zoom background. It's the real thing. I'm here together with Anagarika Tavira, who has helped me set up today. Thanks to her, and also thanks to the good friend who has loaned their computer so that I can come on Zoom. What I'm normally using is a little bit old and decrepit for being able to join like this.
Well, your sound is perfect and the image is great, and
good. There, good luck.
And I have communicated back and forth many times over texting and questioning. She's one of my part of my support system and things that I need to dig out. She's very helpful. Has been involved in the Theravada way for many, many years, and has a wealth of resources and information. I'd like to introduce you to Pratitamo Tan He is in Oregon.
Greetings, Tan Brian. Pratitamo.
Good morning. So good to meet you. Ben has told me a lot about you over time.
Congratulations on your ordination. I was just so happy to see that. And wow, you have such a great opportunity to be with one of the great teachers of our generation. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And at IIMC, there's another venerable, and there are 3 monks who live there. The image is so distant, I can't quite tell which monk that is, but one day we'll convince them to get closer to their images. The rest of us are scattered in Colorado, in Arizona, and in Oregon. And this group has been meeting together now for well over about 2 years or more, in one form or another. And Dana is also from the state of Washington, just over the border in Oregon. And so we all had the opportunity, I hope, to view the video about female ordination. And this is can be a rather charged issue in the Theravada way, especially in the Thai Theravada way. As I was explaining to Wayne earlier today, that in the world of these systems, there are always more rigid and less rigid, more open, less open. And Sri Lanka has been very open, in part, open to ordaining women fully in the monk Sangha. And Thailand has been less so, sometimes being dragged kicking and screaming into the acceptance of female monks. And I would imagine it will in time gradually change, as all things will change. And many years ago, I rejoiced in seeing that the first monastics had established a settlement here in the United States. I think it was in the Deep South. And I'm not quite sure what has happened to all the venerables who were living there, but it was the start. And Ayya Tathaloka is perhaps one of the foremost advocates, supporters of female ordination, and has, as I mentioned earlier, been to Southeast Asia and has done her work mostly in the United States. And it's just wonderful to see all humanity being represented in this way to achieve our own freedom. So this is a more open forum to question Ayya Tathaloka about the experience of being a female monk in America and in Southeast Asia.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for inviting me and for being a good Dhamma friend for quite a few years now. I started meditating at the age of 10. I'm now 52, and I've been in monastic life for more than 30 years. And I think this coming Vasa will be my 23rd Vasa as a Bhikkhuni.
And that's the rains retreat, for those who don't know.
Yes, Vasa means the rains retreats. So I've been in this for a little while, not so very long as some of my teachers who have been even more decades than this, or a lot of the teachers have already passed away now. Then you know you've been around for a while when when your teachers have mostly passed away. And Ben mentioned Thailand and also the United States. I've also been active in Sri Lanka, also India, also this last winter in Cambodia. Cambodia is just seeing the beginnings of the revival of the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha. For a while, USA and Thailand were going like neck to neck in terms of the number of bhikkhunis and seminaries, and now Thailand has just far surpassed us here in the United States in the last 5 years. So Thailand's up to about 300 bhikkhunis, and I'm not sure many more seminaries because they're offering large temporary ordination programs for women around the country each year. Here in the United States, we're still under 70 of us, that bhikkhunis and seminaries. So our growth has been much slower here. And in part, I think that's because in Asia, once people get over the gender hurdle and just thinking, as people in Thailand, many learned like that it's just wrong for the monk's robe to touch the body of a woman. And if we think about the early Buddhist teachings and we look at the suttas and we see the bhikkhunis there, then we understand that that's not something that the Buddha taught, that this robe or the robe of Tita Dhammo, that robe could not touch the body of a woman. So we understand that that's a kind of superstition and prejudice that's developed in the culture in the years that the Bhikkhuni Sangha has been absent. Yeah, but once people get over that hurdle, then in Asia, there's just so much more support for Buddhism on the ground, as you know. And also, because so many men enter into monastic life for reasons other than or additional to really strong dedication to practicing the path that the Buddha taught and realizing its fruits for themselves, because they might enter monastic life for economic reasons or to make merit for their mother or their parents, or to get an education, or even to be able to get a good job afterwards. All of these things are there, and probably actually the majority have entered for these kinds of reasons. And so there are a lot of benefits in that. And then also one of the detriments is that people experience a lot of monastics not displaying the type of strong dedication and practice and level of morality and meditation and wisdom that they expect in the monastics, but it's largely because they're there for, so many are there for other reasons. a difference with our bhikkhunis that I'm hearing people in Asia appreciating a lot is that the vast majority of those women who have ordained have really strong faith in the Buddhist teaching, strong dedication to be practicing it as much as they can with whatever opportunity they have in this lifetime. And then I think real compassion to then sharing that opportunity and sharing the teaching with others. So there's a really high level and quality of dedication. And in general, I think the level of morality is pretty good because of this. Now in Sri Lanka, because Bhikkhuni ordination is becoming more popularized, and there are like lots of younger girls who are also being put by their parents into monastic life, and so then that brings in a whole new dimension. But still, the government is not subsidizing Bhikkhuni monasteries as they subsidize the Bhikkhu monasteries, and not subsidizing monastic education. And while that's a lack in a way, it means that all those bhikkhunis who are there have to work really hard. They can't be lazy, and they're not getting a free ride in a way. Although, of course, they're living on people's generosity, as that's what it means to be a bhikkhu and a bhikkhuni, is to really just live in generosity and giving and receiving. So that means that there aren't those who are coming in like just to get an education and get a job afterwards, or these kinds of things. So I feel so fortunate due to the, I'd say, high quality of my companions in the monastic life in this time, and because with our Bhikkhunis community we're not experiencing so many of the scandals or trials or challenges that the Bhikkhu Sangha is experiencing in many places, even though the level of acceptance is very much on the rise. We see the level of acceptance continually growing and expanding during this time, together with awareness. Awareness is really important. It's easy when people don't have direct contact, when they don't know, when they only see something on the internet, they only hear rumors from people. It's easy to just not really know and then kind of stay on the fence because of not having the chance to have personal contact, see what's going on, talk together, and know more deeply. And these things are so humanizing. And when we see and understand the human face and we know what's going on, then our human hearts respond differently. Yeah. So I really appreciate Ben offering this opportunity to everyone here today. That's a gift, and I'm interested in your questions.
Would everyone please turn on your microphones so that we will be able to hear your questions?
By the way, I'll tell you something. The good lady who you just saw over here, Anagarika Tavira, she's been just about a year now in monastic life. She's actually the former president of the Alliance for Bhikkhunis. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Alliance for Bhikkhunis or not, but they've been such a support to the revival of the Theravada Sangha around the world. And here we have the former president here with me. It's just an accident. She just happens to be on Upatak duty with me today. But you have this double good fortune right here and now. So, now's your chance.
She stumbled into the ropes, then.
I don't think it was stumbling. She had a chance with the Alliance for Bhikkhuni. She had a chance at kind of a distance to be able to observe what was going on with so many different Bhikkhunis communities and the greater dynamics very, very carefully for several years. So this is not stumbling. This is just the opposite.
It's an accident that I'm here this morning.
Right. This is one wise and careful, considerate lady here.
Very good.
So you've probably seen women monastics in white robes before. In Thailand as Mechi, in Cambodia as Donchi, or in Laos, Yai Chi also there. A difference for her is that having done this now, it's not the end of the road. If she'd like to stay with the 8 precept training in white for the rest of her life, she can. That would be completely fine. That path is open to her. But also, if she wishes to receive the seminary pabaja to go forth as a female novice, she can. And if she wishes to fully ordain as a bhikkhuni and to train herself with the 311 precepts of the Bhikkhuni Patimokkha and be a member of the Ubato Sangha, in the Buddha's words, in Pali means dual Sangha of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. So Ubato is like also like we have 2 hands that come together. Then this is kind of Ubato Angeli or Y, but like the bird has 2 wings. So the Buddha designed his own Sangha in this way. So she has that full opportunity open to her, and she's not in a place where she experienced the glass ceiling with where she's at right now.
John, had you had a question to ask?
I'm forming one right now. I guess what I'm curious about, are there differences in, and I apologize, I did not see the video before this, but are there differences in the ordination process? And you know, you had mentioned that she has to take on a year of you know, understudy apprenticeship and then can proceed. Do you find that there are still inequalities in the male bhikkhu and ordination system versus the machi, the female system, or has that sort of equalized now that Sri Lanka and other countries are starting to accept, and as you mentioned, that glass ceiling has been lifted, or at least moved a little bit.
This is a big move towards equalization. And I'll tell you, with her being here in white now, that's actually really, that's according to what we've developed for our own Dhammadharani community. And we have a neighboring Bhikkhu Sangha with the Thai forest tradition of Ajahn Chah, just to the north of here, called Abhayagiri Monastery. And, you know, when I saw what they were doing years ago, I really admired it. And I had the aspiration to offer something similar for women. And there, for men, it's not required by Vinaya, our canonical monastic discipline, but according to the way that Ajahn Chah developed, and also just what the founding teachers thought was good for American culture, for a lot of Westerners to be able to come in and live monastic life potentially for the rest of their lives, not just offering temporary ordination. So what they developed is having this a preliminary period of time with the 8 precepts and still with hair, wearing white, like a retreatant living in the monastery together as an aspirant, and then becoming an anagarika, which means one who's left home, shaving off their hair, putting on the white robes. This is for men, and having a year as an anagarika, and then if they were going well with the monastic community on both sides, the community thinks they're going well, and they also feel they're going well, then they have the opportunity to request the samanera papaja, or the going forth as a novice in the brown robes. And then after at least a year as a novice in the brown robes, they have the opportunity to request the Bhikkhu Sangha for the full Bhikkhu ordination. So what we're doing here is not exactly the same, but it's pretty similar. It's been modeled on that pattern. And that pattern is actually a standard one in East Asian Buddhism. Means the Buddhism in like Vietnam, Taiwan, Korea, that part of the world. It's completely standard for both men and women there, and they have Bhikkhuni Sangha with the Bhikkhu Sangha in those areas. That's been passed down in East Asian Buddhism. So that's just the standard for people entering into monastic life. And for Westerners, I'll tell you something. Our community, like the Thai forest tradition and Sri Lankan forest traditions and some of the strict Vipassana traditions from Burma, we train with the precepts strictly. So when a person undertakes the 10 novice precepts, one of them is giving up money. And that's such a big thing in American culture. It's just enormous. Money and car.
Yes.
I'm serious. I mean, if you think about what are at the time we started this, cell phones weren't so big. Now people say, as long as I have my cell phone, I can survive. But before, it used to be money in the car, right? So with the novice ordination, then now she still can receive money and use money with the 8 precepts. But when she undertakes the 10 precepts, she'll be giving that. If she undertakes the 10 precepts, she'll be giving that up. And for us, with that comes giving up driving, just because of the kind of connection between driving. Normally, it's important to have money, at least a credit card. We don't even have credit cards. I don't have a bank account. Not even for our support foundation. I'm not a board of director in the support foundation. I mean, I'm not a director of the board. And I don't have any signing ability on any of the financial accounts or anything. I'm just, they're not mine, and I'm not involved with them. And I'm so happy to be free of that. It's just a big burden that's taken off of me. But because we are keeping and training with the Patimokkha precepts, the traditional precepts of the Vinaya, the monastic discipline, that's one of the reasons for taking it step by step. At the time that I entered into monastic life, my parents were afraid of cult. These days, Buddhism doesn't have so much kind of cult reputation, but think about the United States 30 years ago. I was in Oregon. Rajneesh was like the whole going scandalous thing at that time. It's like there's so many different things like this, and they're like, cult alert, right? And to be able to enter gradually into monastic life and giving up money be something that happens after experience together and with consideration, and it's like carefully letting the families know, hopefully, if that's possible, talking with them about it, all of that makes a big difference in terms of people not getting like really scared about what this is. And also really someone has a chance. She has a chance to see what it's like living together in this way, and what it's like people treating her with having a shaved head and being in robes like this, before having actually gone into the brown robes and given up the money and properties and these kinds of things. Yeah. So I feel like that's really healthy, which is why in founding this community here, I thought that was a good example and good for putting down the roots of Buddhism here in North America and making it much more widely accessible to people to be able to enter monastic life. Whereas with most of the South and Southeast Asian Theravada Buddhist temples led by the Bhikkhu Sangha in North America, some of them offer temporary ordination for men, but it's rare for a person who is whether Thai or from any racial or ethnic background or country. It's rare that they feel it's accessible for them to enter into and continue in Buddhist monastic life, in this path of practice for a long time. So I know people were so happy when Tita Dhammo is ordaining and going ahead in this way. And it's like, we need monks like this. But how to make it accessible, yeah, for all genders.
Thank you.
What would support your work the most that we could do? What could we do to help with?
Peter, that's such an awesome question. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. There are so many different things that are supportive. I think moral support is actually number one. And there are lots of different ways to offer moral support. And then material support is the other aspect. I tell you, with coronavirus in the first quarter of this year, our Dhammadrini Support Foundation was looking like kind of going off the cliff. Not quite that bad, but not without being able to have programs and things. The support that normally happens when we're teaching in person wasn't happening. And I feel so fortunate that with Vesak this year, Vesak Buddha Day, then so many people contributed, and so we're looking at it being possible to survive. And thanks to the Alliance for Bhikkhunis and their support, they've been helping so many of the Bhikkhuni Sanghas that are really struggling right now just with the coronavirus situation because of not being able to receive support in the ways that we normally do in personal contact, especially teaching contact and counseling contact with people. And, you know, I'm looking around here at our forest hermitage, and we're here on the gift of land. The use of this gift of land has been offered, and every single thing that's here, that's around me, the robes that are on the body, and what you see here, every single thing is the gift of someone. And for many of the things here, I remember who offered that. And so there's the moral support aspect, which includes education, raising awareness, understanding what the talking points are, being able to have good, well-informed discussions with people, speaking in a human way that's not, that may be inclusive, not polarizing, not furthering conflict, but how to reduce and relieve conflict and bring it into a more wholesome and healthy space. So there's the moral and Dhamma support aspect, and then there's the material aspect. Our Dhammadrini, Dhammadrini.org has a well-developed useful things list. So we try to encourage people to make donations not of the things that are useless, even if they're traditional, but to offer things that are useful and that really will be of help to the monastic community, and not just be going piled up in storerooms while the useful things are not there. And although our bhikkhunis and seminaries are not using money, our support foundation sure is. Our new monastery property has a mortgage and utilities and insurance and all these kinds of things like that that are just part of the life in North America. So all these are things that can be and are supportive. Thank you very much for asking. And I find that people who have a heart of kindness and generosity, sometimes they think of things that I don't even think of that are helpful, that are really helpful. So don't let what I said be the limit. That's just that's the standard stuff. And Tavira here, having been with the Alliance for Bhikkhunis, which is a support organization, might be able to tell you what's most supportive, do you think, in your experience?
I mean, I think you covered it very well. So in addition to the individual monasteries, the purpose of the Alliance for Bhikkhunis is to be a worldwide umbrellas organizations supporting Theravada ordained women worldwide. And so they have a universal invitation out to the Bhikkhunis that if they need anything, that they can come to Alliance for Bhikkhunis and request support. And so often if there's kind of special, unusual cases or medical bills or travel for retreat time,
yes,
or
medical fund, monastic medical fund is great.
Right.
Our monastic medical fund had also at this time bottomed out, and now it's come back up a little bit again. Thank you.
Right. So Alliance for Bhikkhunis can kind of know some of those, hear about some of those smaller needs and help support those as well worldwide.
Yes.
And I will say also in normal times, it's a little more complicated now, but we welcome people to come and visit and come and stay and practice with the community and volunteer and help with projects on the land or around the monastery.
Yes, that's right. If you feel like you would love to come and have some time after coronavirus eases up and Sonoma County has lifted its shelter-in-place orders a little bit more, most welcome to come visit our forest hermitage or our monastery. The forest hermitage here is off-grid. This is happening through solar satellite internet, but we're off-grid. It's really simple, rustic and rugged, and wonderful in June. Winter rainy season with atmospheric storms is pretty strong. And our monastery is on the flat beneath Sonoma Mountain and has electricity and running water from the city and these kinds of things, and so and handicap accessible, so it's much more accessible. I think Ben has been to visit our monastery when we were starting up a few years ago. Our hermitage has been here more than 10 years now. Ben, you're most welcome, and if you want to bring friends to come to visit, then you're welcome to do that. We want you to come when it's safe for you to do so, as much as possible. Here in the forest, I was talking about coronavirus, but in the forest, you have to have metta, loving kindness, meditation for your safety, because we're living here together with mountain lions, rattlesnakes, ticks, mosquitoes, deer, osprey, red-tailed hawks, scorpions, small boa constrictors. Here's one insect which has just come to just give a demonstration here. Somehow not interested. So if you practice with metta, all the animals like to come to you, but they don't harm you normally. So we've never had a mountain lion accident in all the time that we've been here, not with anyone, human or lion being harmed. But mindfulness is your second greatest protector if you come, because walking on steep forest trails, the majority of dangers that have happened here actually slip of mindfulness on the trail. So welcome.
Thank you.
And I'd say there are a lot of other Bhikkhunis places around where the number is increasing. There's so much variety. If you go to bhikkhuni.net, which is the Alliance for Bhikkhunis site, you can see a lot of the places of the Bhikkhunis worldwide. And if you come to dhammadharini.org, that's us, and you can see how to visit us here.
Could we get that posted on this site, those addresses?
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm not going to.
I think
I have a terrible.
I'll get the information and I'll add it to the website.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, or
I was
share it with you in chat.
I was reading yesterday an article in Tricycle magazine about the about Dana and the merit and the need for donating and helping, and how much that is part of the culture in the
Yeah.
East, not so much
Yeah.
in the United States. And so it would be good to be able to help you. And if we had a link, so because you mentioned there were things and items and stuff that you would need, and it would be nice to know what those are.
I'm happy to share that information. And yes, Dana, in the Buddha's teaching, there are something called the 3 foundations or 3 bases of merit. And in this case, merit means just what's going to give you like the good energy in the container to be the foundation of your practice. And dana, generosity, is first. Sila, moral virtue, ethics, ethical integrity. This is second, and bhavana includes the meditation, Dhamma contemplations, all of that. This is the third. So those 3 together. So traditionally, for a Buddhist gathering, Theravada Buddhist gathering in the South and Southeast Asian traditions, including Thailand, people will, when they come to the monastery, they'll try to deliberately, intentionally to engage in these 3 things. Generosity, they'll think about what can I give, what will be helpful, and want to give something mutually together. And then sila, thinking about undertaking precepts and developing their moral virtue. And bhavana, then they'll think about having meditation time, listening to Dhamma talks, reading and discussing the Dhamma together to develop their wisdom. So that's the kind of traditional pack, if you will, of these foundational practices. So it's beautiful to live a generosity-based life. I really love it. And in terms of letting the heart be free, it's excellent.
Ton Brian, this was a very interesting comment to hear from Ayya. You have been living on people's generosity now for a bit over a year now. Is that an easy thing for you to do? Is that a joyful thing for you to do? A quizzical thing?
It makes you appreciate this practice, I think, that much more, because you realize that everything, like Ayya was saying, everything you have is from other people's kindness. So if you waste it by not practicing or not practicing well, it's almost like you're stealing from the laity. So when you recognize the benefits coming to us because people have confidence in the Triple Gem and want to support that from their heart, it makes that much more, I think, inspiration for our own practice to do it the best we can, so we're not wasting those gifts. So yeah, I think it's a really important aspect of what we're doing.
And for me, when I was walking down on alms round in rural Thailand, it was the most touching and surprising experience I ever had, to have little old grandmas and grandfathers putting a ball of rice in my bowl, and little children doing the same. I mean, these folks didn't know me at all. I was just a white person in robes. And when we returned to the temple and had our meal, there was not one bit of kilocalories coming out of that rice that I would waste. Everything was to be used for my practice, to return the merit to the donors and use the power from the food to support my practice and develop my practice. Extraordinarily meaningful. And it sticks with me.
You know, I'll tell you something that you might find surprising is that our Dhammadharini community here not right now due to coronavirus, but regularly. It's one of the things that we often do, is to go out for alms round, as the Buddhist monks do in South and Southeast Asia, especially Southeast Asia. They've maintained the traditions of Pindapat, going out to walk for alms round. And I've been really amazed and surprised to see here in Northern California how much people love the alms round program. There are people, not only Thai people or Asian people, but our local Euro ancestry American people who really just love to turn out for the alms round program. Sometimes they won't even go to the monastery, but they like to come for the alms round program. And, you know, we try to do this in a traditional way, as we see in some of the texts the Buddha doing. So we go for the alms round and then go to stop to eat our meal in the local city park afterwards, and then welcome that people meet us there to have Dhamma discussion so that they can ask questions, and then we can be available to be sharing the Dhamma with them. So people come for that, including people who didn't know we were going to be there and just saw us, and they just see the robes and they feel some good energy and they come and they want to ask a question or request a blessing. And that just happens so often. And the people who give are not, our local Thai restaurant does give. We have a standing invitation to go there, but they're not the only ones. The Mexican restaurant also said, please come every time, right? And the farmers market, they're the particular people who are like, please come to my stand. You can anytime. And they're not all Asian. So we see how putting ourselves out there, making ourselves accessible to people, is a way that connects with many people. Not everyone, but it's really amazing for how many people this is touching their hearts. We see people who we don't even know, like somehow just being able to do this, then a tear comes to their eye. And there are people who say when they come to visit us, including monastics, who don't have the opportunity to go for alms round elsewhere, where they're staying in the United States, who said that that's one of the best parts of their experience, best parts of their visit, is being able to join in the alms round together.
I'm reminded of the wonderful video of Ajahn Chah visiting England and trying to explain to the English folks that these monastics need food, and it's the Western attitude: if you don't work, you're not worthy of food. They're not begging. It was an incredible thing to see, and I know they've gradually become educated. I'm also reminded of the experiences that some of the early Australian monks had incredible prejudice directed towards them, but that too has changed as the society has changed.
Not all done. There's still prejudice.
Beg pardon?
It's not all done. There's still prejudice.
No. Of course.
One of the things that living on generosity enables is being able to give freely. And for me, this is a big, big part of it. And I love being able to share the Dhamma and offer this space and to not have a price tag on that. And to not even be telling people this is the recommended donation, but just whatever people would like to offer, whenever they would like to offer it, that this is what we're offering. And because of the support that we receive, we're able to give freely. And early on with Dhammadrini, then people were talking about like wanting me to go out on a teaching tour to raise money. And I completely wouldn't do it. I'm not going to do it for that reason. Not for that reason. If the reason is to share the Dhamma And incidentally, it helps to raise money for some project or program or doing some good thing. That's great. But to be free in terms of like offering this is a gift of Dhamma. And I'm not doing it because I want to get anything back other than knowing that there's benefit in giving. In giving this. It again, it helps. It lets our hearts be free. Please, Dana. Hi.
So hi.
Nice to see
I've been thinking a lot about what you've been saying, and I've been thinking about, I like, you know, I sew a lot, I make things, and then I give them away, and then over time, and it's been probably since I was a child, just give things away. But then there's these times that you get lost in your head about what you're giving away, and people should appreciate it. And then in the last few years, it's been like, I'll give it away and I don't want to ever think about it again. And people will remind me, do you remember when you gave me this? No. And it's like a challenge to, that's what I want. I want to give things, make things, give things away and have no attachment and understand that. And even, and like what you said, like with my work, because I'm a mobile foot care nurse, it's a trade. Yes, they give me money for what I do. But when you were talking, it's like, I need to appreciate what I do. I don't know how to, it's like, I need to, like the way that I do my work is an appreciation. The way I clean my, like nobody's looking to see, are you cleaning your tools right? But I clean them right. And that's the appreciation of making sure that they're sterile and all the steps I go through, because it's a gift to these people of taking care of their feet and not letting them get sick. But it's hard to make those, how do you make those where it's just like, I'm giving this and what do you do?
I just want to say that appreciation is possible without entering into attachment. And that's really important with regards to our own actions and that of others. Yeah. So mudita, anumodhana. Mudita is to have gladness, joy, happiness, in appreciation, appreciative joy in things that are beautiful and good and well done. And this in the Buddhist teaching actually comes under the heading of several kinds of liberation. Liberation means a kind of freedom. So how to really be able to feel and experience appreciative joy, really to all as to ourselves, for our own actions and for others' actions, not to privilege others over ourselves, not to privilege ourselves over others, but to just be able to feel this very healthy and beautiful human emotion in a way that's moving into, like, that's expansive, not contracted, that's about liberating the heart, not about grasping and clinging and attachment. So this is actually one of the fundamental Buddhist teachings, and it's one that often somehow gets overlooked. And I think it's because we may have fear in Western culture. If we've been born and grown up here, then there can be a fear to feel like real joy and appreciation for the good that we're doing, or to expand that beyond our own little circle for our own children or our own whoever, our partner. Then we think loving them, it's good to have that emotion with them. We hope if there's an appreciative relationship there between the parents and children and the partners, and all. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes that gets lost. Yeah. But this, in the Buddha's teaching, this is really important to not only to say that we should just have it, but really to cultivate and to grow and to nurture and to develop and expand on these qualities. It's just so healthy in our human psychology and experience to do this. And the thing that we have to look out for is how to do this, really to learn, to train ourselves, to practice. How can we do this without engaging in attachment. It means like grasping and clinging and then like closing down and making the things really narrow and like all about ourselves, or denying ourselves. Not to go there. Putting these things aside, there's still the whole wide possibility, a very healthy experience there. To remember that the Buddha was teaching this, cultivating and developing these qualities of mudita as a liberation of mind. When our mind becomes even really vast and broad with these qualities, the characteristic is akin to the fourth jhana, the fourth level of meditative absorption, where the mind and body are actually primed for insight. Wow. You expect that came there with that? This is what we find in the suttas, really. Together with loving kindness, together with compassion, together with equanimity and balance of mind and heart. It's so important. Look out for arrogance, not to be arrogant. Look out for the grasping, clinging, attachment, not to do that. And look out for putting oneself down. Not to do that either. So avoiding these things, still, it doesn't make this practice any less. It actually makes it all the greater, because those things are hindrances.
That was helpful.
They obstruct our being able to fully feel and know and experience these very healthy and beautiful states, and experience the freedom that comes from that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. I see that we're coming up on 11, and
Yes.
There's going to be an alms meal offering here at approximately 11. They might be waiting to see us, and notice we haven't turned up yet, and they know that I'm speaking with you this morning, so everyone's being really kind and not coming to interrupt, and probably it would be good soon for me to go for that. And I'm not sure for Tan Brian, Tita Damo, what time. I'm guessing there's a before noon
It's
lunch.
about the same.
Yeah.
I want to express my deep appreciation for you being here with us today. You've added so much. Very powerful presence. I appreciate the Anagarika being with us as well, and hope to see you more as you grow in this life. Because of the time, Tan Brian, can I ask you to lead us in metta to close out today's Zoom session?
Sure. May we abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may we maintain well-being in ourselves. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their homes. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we pay respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Thank you all for being together today. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Please visit the new site. Peter was so helpful in putting this all together for us. I realized this morning we never even thought about putting a counter on there.
Oh yeah. Well, we can do that. But yeah, let me know if you have any feedback on the new website, and I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Great. And we're hoping to add much more to this new site, linking other temples and programs together for the American and worldwide population to see what's happening here in the western part of the United States and the rest of the world. Once again, thank you so much. If you have questions, you wish to talk about practice, please contact me and we'll certainly get back together again. I thank you so much. I'm really indebted to you. Thank you.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to have this time in Dhamma together with you. I'm just typing in the chat box to everyone, Dhammadrini Bhikkhuni Sangha. I see that Peter has added in the Alliance for Bhikkhunis at bhikkhuni.net, and Dhammadrini Bhikkhuni Sangha is at dhammadrini.org. And the new site that's under construction is at dhammadrini.net. So you can see for yourselves.
Excellent.
Thank you. May you have
Wonderful.
every good blessing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.